I think that one of the issues that's being left alone in this whole discussion is the amnesia how we got into the situation, who's responsible for the situation, and to blame the three programs that we're talking about, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, as the drivers of this deficit is a mistake. The drivers happened long ago. 2 wars on a credit card, financial institutions that abused the American people, and now we're being asked to go back to the same people that have endured this crisis and ask them to pay up again.
So clearly the difference is
I suspect that on Social Security, we've got a somewhat similar position. Social Security is structurally sound. It's going to have to be tweaked the way it was by Ronald Reagan and Democratic Speaker Tip O'Neill. But it is, the basic structure is sound. But I want to talk about behind Social Security and Medicare. And then talk about Medicare, because that's the big driver of our deficits right now. My grandmother, some of you know, helped to raise me. My grandparents did. My grandfather died a while back. My grandmother died 3 days before I was elected president. And I don't need to tell people here about the effects on the federal budget. We've got some people who've been working a very long time on figuring out how can we control the huge expansion of entitlements. Almost all of the long-term deficit and debt that we face relates to the exploding costs of Medicare and Medicaid. Almost all of it. I mean, that is the single biggest driver of our federal deficit. And if we don't get control over that, we can't get control over our federal budget. Now,
and the federal government, Medicare and Medicaid, is going broke. That's the single biggest driver, by the way, of our deficits. I want everybody to be clear about this, because driving in, I saw some folks who were, saying, what are you going to do about debt, et cetera. Listen, by far, the biggest contributor to our national debt and our annual deficit is the costs of Medicare and Medicaid, as well as the other entitlements, Social Security, defense, and interest on the national debt.